Hi everybody. This is our. I have the pleasure to welcome you on our meeting, second meeting today. First was the breakfast, Klaster breakfast that was happening since 9. Now we are starting the morning health talks. First in this year of the meetings, which is devoted to the general aspect of the innovative hospital of the future. The project of these meetings are being organized under the umbrella of EIT Health RIS organization, and we are Klaster LifeScience Kraków, and we are the EIT Health Hub for Poland. We have a guest for today's EIT Health morning talks. Maybe I will start with the screens. We have two guests online, Karolina Tadel from Novartis, Poland, and Dan Hatma, if I spelled it correctly, from yes. ID Group from Netherlands.
Good morning.
From Rotterdam, I believe, at this moment. And Karolina from Warsaw.
Yes, hello, good morning.
And with me in a studio, in our place, Tomasz Gubała, Sano, the Center of Computational Medicine, Andrzej Skalski, Meta.
Hello.
And Jose Sousa. Okay, Jose, I always have.
No, Jose, no, Jose.
Jose Sousa from Sano. And we'll be talking about the hospital of the future, especially today there will be focus on medical data, security, privacy and access, but from the perspective of actually doing or building the innovative innovations in collaboration with hospitals. I will do very shortly the short presentation, short introduction, just to mention this. Trying to change. Okay, the agenda of this meeting for today. So why we are talking about this innovative hospital, that does this short introduction. Then we will have this our expert talking and presenting. We'll start with Karolina, then Dan, Andrzej Skalski again, and Tomasz Gubała and Jose Sousa will participate in the dialogue, either in presentations or in discussion here, and then small summary which will be done again in the form of discussion, not necessarily presentation. And here are the questions. You also see on the screen that the questions we want to address during this discussions, presentations. What barriers hinder the participation, the participative development of healthcare technologies in the hospitals? And of course, in the context we are still about somehow in the context of data, access to data, access of which way we generate data and having access, provide access to this data. What needs to change to support open innovation in healthcare, and why do we need patients to be engaged and empowered, and what that does it mean in practice? And we have people who are actually working in the hospitals and also with patients. And we expect that these presentations, this dialogue, this discussion will bring some answers to these questions. Talking about open innovation, I think we can. Sorry, my presentation should start here. Why we are doing this? The ultimate objective, our objective here in the LifeScience Kraków cluster, and also a little bit larger, I mean, in this LifeScience community, LifeScience innovation community, is that we want to build somehow the roadmap to the hospital of the future. The roadmap as a kind of common agreement about what we should focus on, what we should invest in what we should invest, in which way we should collaborate, that the hospital in the future will happen. Because the changes are coming very, very quickly, exponential pace actually, and we need to have some kind of guidance, at least, or some level, some degree of coordination between activities to make sure that patients in Poland are the same like patients, the same way treated as patients in Holland or in Ukraine or any other place in Europe. And because the problem is complex, we are trying to, in these discussions, to cover the subject, to approach this subject from many perspectives, to discuss many perspectives. Today's perspective is the data and open innovation. Seems to be kind of contrary notions, we'll see. And our goal is to better understand our responsibility and opportunity to influence this change. We all are very much interested to have the healthcare as effective as possible. That's why we are doing this. And here we have that's mapping to the way to the hospital of the future. Again, the ultimate objective is the main objective is to improve the care for patients. That's the central point of the discussion. So it's not the hospital. It's important. The most important is patient. But to do that, we have to build some kind of. We have to agree about how hospitals are organized, in which way they operate, and the discussion again. What barriers? What needs to be changed, and why do we need patients to be engaged? And now I will give the voice. This is the last slide after discussion. So now I will give the voice to Karolina.
Hello, thank you.
Thank you, Karolina. And
you can hear me well, I hope.
I'll stop sharing. And,
okay, so I start share my screen. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Can hear you.
Yes, great. Thank you. Thank you for presentation. Great. Thank you for invitation today. For me,
sorry,
pleasure.
sorry, Karolina. Just a moment. I have to change the.
You need to close the presentation.
No, it's my first slide.
But
maybe you're confused because it's the same like here first.
How to do that? Just a moment, because we don't see here your presentation. I have to share. Just a moment. I have to share this screen. I believe. No, it's not me. Again, sorry, we didn't check how this works. Okay, I think we have.
Maybe you have to share the whole screen, not only the window.
Yes, and now try again. Try again to share your screen.
I'm sharing all the time. But I can share once more. I start.
Just a moment.
It's okay. It's okay. You just expand. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Go on.
Yes, it's okay. Great. So thank you for the invitation. Today, for me, it's a great opportunity to talk about our perspective of innovative hospital and technology in healthcare system. And I'm so glad that we tried.
You don't hear.
Exactly.
Poorly. You have to come closer, I believe. No, it's maximum what we can have. Yeah,
I can continue.
Sorry for these problems. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to underline that for me it's a big pleasure and I'm so glad that we try to discuss about healthcare ecosystem in collaboration from many perspectives, like business, technology, hospitals, startups, because it's crucial to collaborate, to build partnerships, to develop innovative hospital of the future with many technologies is my vision, and also vision organization, Novartis Poland, which I represent today. I'm a digital health innovation manager in this company. I represent digital and innovation department, and I want to show you our perspective of innovation in healthcare, but innovation not only focus on new compounds, new molecules, but innovation for hospitals means innovation for patients, for doctors, and the whole staff. And we try to define it like approach beyond the pill. And it's really important for us that we try to be partner not only in treatment processes and looking for new possibilities of treatment, but also to create innovative hospital in Poland. So at first, this approach beyond the pill, it's crucial for us, and we know that we've got many challenges in the healthcare ecosystem, and it's know that we've got more data that patient adherence, it's a big problem. It's the first big challenge, and for sure, we've got many different challenges. I don't want to list the whole problems in this ecosystem, but I try to tell about positive things in this area, because we have data that patients are aware of digital services, and they want digital health solution. They have mobile phones, computers, internet connection, and they are ready to transform healthcare ecosystem into more digital world. And also Future Health Index that will try to show approach of healthcare leaders to innovation also show that more than 40% of healthcare leaders want to implement new technology, as for example artificial intelligence. So we are sure that it's the best moment to start a strong collaboration with healthcare ecosystem to build innovative technologies in hospital for our patients. So this is the statement, but we know that we've got many trends in Europe and also in the world that are the first steps of transformation of this this ecosystem. And this for us, it's a basis that we want to create our strategy, that we want to create our new approach. And first important thing is that new technology are important for leaders and for doctors, for young staff especially. They when they are decided about new work, they also validate possibility of implementing technologies like artificial intelligence in hospitals. So we know that global health and healthcare are changing, and it is positive way for us because technology is most common. So I want to show the healthcare system before, but I think that sometimes it's like now in Poland, when we've got hospitals and primary care entities, that before they was more concentrate in buildings in place, but now we try to create healthcare ecosystem more virtual, and also it is connected with documentation that our focus is to create it in more digital way. And next important thing for patient is to form of consultation, contact, education also. And our game and our goal is to create more digital and online platforms. And next thing is that patients try to be more proactive, not reactive in their disease, and it's strong related with fact that we need to looking for solution to monitoring patient, to contact with them before standard visits. And last thing is that diagnostic processes and whole patient journey could be more online than in person in buildings in hospitals. So we think that the vision of healthcare now is different than before, and it's the way that we need to move together. And it is our strategy how we define our journey and our roles in the same time, because we try to transform healthcare system. Yes?
Question. Can you go back to the slide? Because you present this to statuses before and now, but this now is really now. You mentioned this that this is not necessarily, for example, true for the Poland, but even in Poland or even in a given country, is this true for how many hospitals or how many what percentage of a healthcare system? It's 15%, 50, 75.
It's difficult to define. I think that the 500% is our dream, but last year we've got report from Centrum of eHealth in Poland, and we know that 7% of hospital and entities of primary care implement artificial intelligence and other digital technologies. So in Poland now, official data is 7%. Maybe it's not big, but I think that it's our start. Yeah, first step.
Do we know examples? Do we know examples from other countries where this percentage is higher, much higher?
I'm sure that it's higher, but for example, I explore United States market, and for example, hospitals in this country has 90% of hospitals in USA has AI strategy. Hospitals have a digital health strategy and AI strategy, and the best proof that they are aware about new technology. In Poland, we do not have focus on technology in 90% scale, but I think that we've got much more leaders than 2 or 3 years ago. So this state of now is, I think, our approach, that we want to create hospitals like this, and we do not come back to paper forms of documents or reactive medicine. We want to create new approach, but of course it's difficult, and we've got 18 hospitals which we cooperate, and we've got new projects. So we know that it is a long journey. Yeah, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, I think. So it's a big process for us. But I want to talk about this, how we define before and now, because we don't want to transform. For sure, therapies are a main goal for our company, but when I define it from digital and innovation perspective, for me, the most important thing is to implement new systems, new applications, new platforms to help organize resources, to better management of resources, stakeholders, and to define new roles in healthcare, in hospitals also. And this part combine data, AI, technology. That is our focus right now. And as I said, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And our new approach is to be a partner for hospitals. And when we try to understand needs from hospital perspective, we, as Novartis Poland, try to start discussion how in hospitals processes look like now, and how they are organized, processes, procedures, documentation, patient visits, etc. And after that, we try to define together what we can transform into digital form, not to implement application and that's all, and you should be happy, but we want to redefine processes, and after that, implement new technologies, and also implement startups from Poland, because it's very important for us to support Polish startup ecosystem, because we've got many examples and mature technologies which are ready to start cooperation with us. But it's not so easy that we go to hospital, try to talk, and after that we've got new project, because for sure hospital, it's at first main issue that lack of time, limits of resources, limit of staff, and IT systems sometimes it's problem. So we got many challenges, but our main role is to be a partner and some kind of interim manager in this process. We try to help them to organize this transformation to be more digital. So first slide, I told that our approach is beyond the pill because it's not typical activity for pharmaceutical company, but our goal is to transform patient journey, to help patient, to help doctors. So we decided to start a really new way of collaboration with hospitals in Poland. And we've got amazing results right now. We've got 18 hospitals and 9 projects. I think that it's a good result because we start our department. It started last year, so we have 18 months of our history. So I think that 9 projects and 18 hospitals is really okay. And we try to support many different areas in healthcare ecosystem: oncology, cardiology, neurology also. So we try to cover many different medicine disciplines. And we offer not only solution for doctors, but for example, one project that we implement was application for patient. So we are aware of many different areas of this healthcare ecosystem, and this slide that I want to share because we are proud about it, that we try to combine many different stakeholders and partners. As I said at the beginning, collaboration is crucial to build innovative hospital, to build innovative ecosystem. Not only big companies, technology companies, or startups and hospitals, it's also important to involve in this process association and institution for medical disciplines. And for us, it's also really important to involve patient foundation and representation of this group of beneficiaries of this technology. So this map is our big success, that we've got many different stakeholders, and it is our point of view for the next years, that we want to create this ecosystem in Poland. As you can see, we have many different partnerships. I hope that now I can update this map with more logotypes, and it's meeting like today. It is the best example that in Poland we are aware that we have to collaborate. We cannot want to do things on our own, but we have to collaborate. And as I can observe in Rotterdam or in Israel, this collaboration is amazing when we can create, for example, in academia, some examples and then transfer it to business and hospitals, because the strategy is win-win for everyone. It's the great idea to implement it in Poland, because we are ready and data show that we need and we want the new technology. And our activities are focused on 4 different areas. And prevention, for sure, diagnosis, treatment, monitoring. And for example, we've got project with speech-to-text solution, because we try to help doctors in their daily work. They've got many different documentation to complete, to authorize, and we try to create documentation faster. And for patient, it is faster diagnosis. For example, they have exam result earlier, and it is for them best way to have also the proper treatment area. Next project is connected with medical data, and it's also connected strongly with treatment and diagnosis, because we try to standardize documentation in clinics, and we want to have the same information for every patient, and after that create database to filter some kind of treatment or patient results. And also it is a big improvement for clinics, because they have standardized database, and they can compare, for example, patient cases or better combine treatment for patient, especially for difficult and rare disease. And last but not least, our project is combined with prevention and monitoring, because we've got application for patients with multiple sclerosis, and it's a really important project for us. We've got 200 patients in this pilot, and we try to offer connection between the doctor and patient between standard visits in hospitals, because we know that education is important for patients, but in daily work in hospitals, doctors do not have enough time to educate patients. So this application was support in this time, and it is really big success. And rates from patients are extremely positive, and we try to scale this project for other hospitals, but also for other medical clinics. So we try to offer not only solution for hospitals to organize processes better, but also for our patient, because it's the great result and award for us when we can read positive opinion and great approach patient to technology. So it is our start in this innovative hospital ecosystem, and this new approach beyond the pill. We have our vision, how we want to work with hospitals. We have a vision about hospital of the future, and we are in the first step to create it. And also important step is to collaborate and to build partnerships. So thank you for the invitation today. It was a pleasure for me. And if you have any question, I can answer now, but maybe you want to write my email, and we can talk in future, because we are open to collaborate with not only hospitals, but also with startups, because we are actively looking for a solution to implement in hospitals. So thank you so much.
And welcome quick questions to Karolina, because we know that Karolina will not stay till the end of the meeting. So if someone wants to ask Karolina something, please do it now.
Yes, I would like to ask you something, Caroline. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so my question is on your slide where you mentioned the collaborations. Probably it was my mistake, but I didn't see any university or research center. So that at the moment, for example, we are Sana, and we do a lot of research on computational medicine, AI, and so on. So we'd be more than happy to be part of such an ecosystem. But normally people forget about that. Companies, they focus on deploying and changing procedures. They don't do research. So do you consider to integrate any research institution that is focused on that?
Yes, great opinion. And we have a project, but it's in launch right now with a medical university, and medical university in Poland are combined with clinics, with university hospitals. Yeah, so we try to start new project with medical university and their hospital. So it's not so easy to start cooperation with academia, because the phase of the project is important for us, because when we try to implement something in hospital, we need to approve or certification, that this project is ready to use. But when we start project in phase R&D, it's difficult for us, because we know that we need more than 2 or 3 years to have product, and now it's difficult for us, but we have focused that involve academia and university is crucial for that, because academia are the place of working professors, experts, and they've got amazing ideas. And it is also a challenge for us how to combine this cooperation in our model. But we know challenges, but we believe that it's really important and that we need to also involve universities. If you have any idea how we can cooperate, I'm open to explore this topic, because as I said, it's difficult for us. Maybe you've got some example or some ideas, and we can create a project or something new faster.
So what talking about. We have one question from the audience. Can you come closer to?
Sure. Can you hear me well?
Yes, yes.
Perfect. So thank you for the presentation. I have actually a quick question where I would like to refer to the use cases that you mentioned, and basically my question will be around your technology stack right now, because you mentioned you have currently 9 projects which include solutions like speech to text and basically all the stuff around data standardization as well. So that actually is a perfect base for further automation and workflow systems, like the flow of documents. And basically on my conversations with healthcare, with the directors of the hospitals and so on. So I think all those processes that are around the diagnosis, so basically entering the data to the systems and stuff like that, it actually takes a lot of time. So are you right now using any kind of technology, or are you actually including in your projects also those areas around workflow systems and the process automation?
Process automation is in our company internally is difficult because we've got many different systems, and in hospitals too. It's difficult because we have to combine not also hospital information system, but also finances and other systems. So it's a new area for us. We do not have any project in this area. For sure, we know that in hospitals it's a big problem how to manage many different procedures and documents. So we are open to maybe we have to talk and know your solution or your ideas, because as I said, we know that there's a problem, but we do not have any projects in this area.
Well, that's a perfect answer. In that case, I will follow up. Thank you.
It's good to have a perfect answer to the simple question. Thank you very much. This was the example of big pharma. I don't want to follow up with this discussion later on because we have limited time, but it would be very
for sure. Thank you.
Why Novartis, a pharmaceutical company, goes beyond the pill. What is the real benefit? Not only to have a positive opinions, but for sure there is a business case behind that. And that's something we may explore in the future. But now we will switch to Dan Hitma. Dan represents different types of companies collaborating with hospitals and experience with collaborating with hospitals, because for Dan, the hospital is a partner in implementing the new innovations, real innovations, as we learned recently talking in the same meeting. So please, Dan, the floor is yours. Tell us about your experiences and your approach, especially. Especially from your own individual perspective.
Yes, thank you so much. First of all, for having me, and thank you, Carolina, for the interesting perspective from Novartis. Hi everybody in Poland. I'm Dan. I'm the commercial leader of IDE Group Europe. A little bit more about me, so you understand my background and my view on things, and then I'll talk a little bit about IDE Group and how we collaborate with hospitals. So, as I said, I'm the commercial leader of IDE Group Europe, spearheading business development, diving into partnerships, but also venture building. Myself, I have a strategic design background specializing in organizational design, and I worked at Philips as a healthcare transformation services consultant, helping to design better workflows in hospitals. So, for instance, the newly designed heart department of the Amsterdam UMC, the hospital there, So that really got me inspired and wanting to do more with healthcare and medtech. So that's a bit about my background. As I said, I'm here in Rotterdam. This is where our European office is. But this is a nice segue to tell a little bit more about ID Group. I've only 3 slides about ID Group, and then I'll tell you more about the barriers we see, what is hindering the participative development of healthcare technologies in hospitals. And I will tell you a bit about the things we see that can be changed, right, to stimulate open innovation, and indeed how we include in patients and keep them engaged and empower them in anything what we develop. So let me see if I can share. Let me see. Share. All right. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Wait, oops, sorry. Technical challenges. Let's try again. All right. I hope you have a visual. So ID Group, very shortly for everybody who doesn't know us. We are a medtech venture builder. We are founded in Sydney, not very close here, but on the other side of the world. George and Richard, they founded ID Group 20 years ago, starting out as an R&D company, really, but now we are a full service partner, helping any initiative from universities, hospitals, startups to big corporates like Novartis to help their ideas translate them to reality and bring them to the patients, right? And improve the patient experience or make sure hospital staff or healthcare providers work more efficiently and in the end create more sustainable healthcare systems. So we work in any stage. So sometimes we have people coming to us and they just have a great idea on a napkin. In other cases, they've just identified a problem and they want to do something about it. And in other cases, they already have a prototype in clinical trials or already technology patented. What we do as an ID group, we apply our services on it with our incredible team. So we are around 80 people divided across, Sydney, as I said, Rotterdam for the European region. And we have an office in the US, in Philadelphia, and in Minneapolis. So what we do, as I said, we started out as an R&D company, but now we are truly a holistic, we truly look at it in a holistic way. So looking through these 3 lenses, right, of feasibility, desirability, and viability. It has to make sense in what you're developing and bringing to market. And we bring that through market through these 3 phases of the discovery, development, and delivery. And in the end, what I said, we want to bring that value to the people. That's basically what I wanted to share very quickly about IDE Group, so you have an idea of what we do. And if we look at our collaborations with hospitals or universities, right, there's often they're always joined, right? They're always together. So these academic institutions with healthcare providers. And as an IDE Group, we engage more from a commercial side. So we have these public-private partnerships. And it's interesting because we both bring something new to the table or different perspectives on the table. So, but what we also see is that there's mismatch in goals, right? So where academics or researchers in hospitals, they aim to publish new publications, have more PhDers, do more research. And a lot of value is staying on the shelves. And we are a partner that's trying to translate that research into something that patients actually can have the benefits of. And because of this difference, you see that kind of translates in all other kind of things when collaborating, if we're talking about barriers. A good example is where we just had the kickoff from is Welcome Leap. Welcome Leap is a big fund in Europe. They have 10 programs and every program has like 50 million euros to stimulate bringing research to the market. And we are there to support these people in academics, in hospitals to think in a different way. Because what we see, especially people developing or researching in a hospital, let's take a regulatory perspective. the regulations applicable to wear and the safety of the devices developed internally by hospitals and companies vary greatly, which is making it easier for hospitals, but harder for companies, right? And this discrepancy, it stifles the innovations and access to the latest technologies. Basically, that's what we see. And also in development, hospital medical specialists and the development departments, they have the innovation departments. They have great practices and good standards, but it's suited for hospitals and not necessarily with the idea to commercialize and scale up and impact more people and not just that hospital. So that's one of the barriers we see. And what is the danger there is that you could develop something that is great and works great in one hospital and for that workflow, but it's not translatable to other hospitals or in other settings. So we as an ID group, we help in translating something that is more scalable in that sense. Another barrier we see in working together with hospitals or these institutions is IP restrictions. So, of course, you have the TTO, right? The technology transfer offices. And what we see is, and it makes sense, right? But they sometimes have a short-term vision on wanting to get a return on investment from their research of a hospital. And if you want to spin it out into a venture that can make the venture a bit how do you say this, like paralyzed almost, because they don't get the time to evolve and iterate and build their venture. So these IP restrictions or licensing restrictions that kind of prevent startups to happen or innovations to happen from hospitals. And then
I don't get it actually, because IP restrictions actually should protect them, not restrict.
Yeah, no, because of this IP, right? And that's great to protect it, but then to put directly licenses on it and to have these fees, startups or ventures have to pay to hospitals, for instance, that kind of prevents them for growing. We see the same with, we're now working with a spin out or a startup which has IP from Philips, for instance, and they directly want to license it and they want certain fees for it and they expect to get X amount of money back in amount of years. But that prevents the startup to develop because they have this burden of that of these restrictions. So what they have now an interesting construction actually is where if they don't have to pay anything back to the people who are licensing that technology. But only if they hit a certain milestone of making X amount of revenue or helping X amount of patients, then they start paying Philips back, for instance, for this IP. So that's how we see that could also be a construction that works for hospitals. Where if you look at other things we see as barriers, and it sounds all very negative, it's champions, right? Champions, the people who have a good idea and want to bring it forward. So it's not always clear who's pulling the cart from the hospital or the commercial side of the world. So people who are doing the research or bringing forward a great solution, for instance, let's try to make them an ambassador of their own idea and be the voice of the hospital, right, in this venture that's coming forward. But they need, not everybody is an entrepreneur, of course, and they don't have to. Their focus should be on delivering care, for instance. But if they have more freedom to spend time on it, for instance, and trying to bring this innovation a bit further so it doesn't stay on the shelf, that would be great. And also if they get the mandate and the resources to do so. And also what I said, especially, if you have a champion from the hospital, that's already great, but then you need another type of champion to commercialize it and bring that innovation further. And then the last barrier we see is, of course, funding limitations, but everybody is struggling with that in the current environment. And it needs a specific type of person that can raise that and wants to raise that, right, and bring it forward and looking into hospitals, but also outside of hospitals, into grants, but also with investors, etc. So summarizing that, we see the differences in goals. We see the restrictions put on by these institutions and the champions and investment barriers. But if we look at how we can support open innovation in healthcare, we see many opportunities, and we're already doing it at ID Group as well. So I wanted to share some of our experiences there. What we see that could support open innovation in healthcare is well, and that's not something we can change. It's more of a global dynamic, I would say, is that competition is being acquired very soon, very quickly, right? So small initiatives, they don't get a chance to really share their knowledge and their new innovations because they're already being acquired by the bigger companies sometimes. And that's
Something is promising.
Sorry?
If something is promising, it's quickly.
Yeah, exactly. It's being acquired because the large companies, they see it as a threat rather than an opportunity to bring even more value to the people. And of course, for smaller companies, it's a heavy burden, right? If you look at an administrative side of things, like your QMS, regulatory, it's a big investment. So it's also hard for smaller initiatives to thrive and survive, as well with the risk-averse investors nowadays. So that's something that could change or should change to support and stimulate even more open innovations. And if we look at, for instance, providing a more risk-friendly investments for these initiatives in hospitals, we see a great example at the Radboud UMC. It's a hospital in the eastern part of the Netherlands. And they have a business development department, for instance. And well, of course, they go through some kind of due diligence, but they get 100K from the start to further develop this idea. And that's just a nurse or a specialist or like a surgeon that can bring this idea one step further. And with this 100K, they can develop the proposition and try to look for an entrepreneur, for instance, if the nurse or the surgeon don't want to become that, right? And it's very understandable, right? They started that profession with a reason to directly bring care to the people.
This is a public hospital?
Yep, it's a public hospital, yep. And it's a very interesting way to stimulate, for instance, or at least take that risk away to provide this funding. And I mean, it's very unique, I would say. Not every hospital can do this. And if I look at other things, right, I already mentioned like the regulatory or development burden for like small initiatives. It's a big investment, and not every startup can or initiative can directly pay for that. So what we could see that supports open innovation is a more centralized offering from hospitals or clusters like yourself in Krakow, is to provide these services to these early stage initiatives, which provides a flexible and affordable collaboration type. And if you look at ID Group, how we partner with clusters for these starting and early stage initiatives, we have specific ways of collaboration, right? So we work with delayed payments, we reduce the hourly rates, and you pay back after certain milestones, or we do investments ourselves, like seed investments, to stimulate that as well, or talk about manufacturing and licensing agreements down the road. So that's how we collaborate and offering our services. But if you look, for instance, how we collaborate with certain hospitals, is we get like a retainer fee, and we can help all their initiatives they have. So for an X amount of money, we can be like the consultant or like a partner for sparring or offering workshops, and we help these initiatives. So that also stimulates open innovation, right? To share ideas and the challenges you have, and get inspired by each other.
Is there any pattern in the collaboration with hospitals that you observe that makes hospital easier to collaborate and acquire technologies, or more difficult?
Yeah, I wish I could say that there is a pattern, but as we see it, is really a case by case situation. Every hospital is of course unique, and every region, every cluster is unique. So also the collaboration types there are tailored. So no, sorry, unfortunately, no pattern from our side.
This can be good news actually, because which means because patterns are very difficult to change actually. So individual is always kind of easier.
Yeah, and that's also true, of course. Yeah. And if we coming back to the open innovation part, if we see what really supports that is provide transparency about the research topics a hospital is doing, right? Or what is their focus, and or what is the IP, what is the available, and they want to bring further and into a spin out or in a venture, or at least develop in the hospital, right? And then like you're showing what you have, but also do a call for entrepreneurs, like to attract those champions I was talking about earlier. And you see, for instance, how they do that in Ireland, in BioInnovate in Galway. They have a great ecosystem there. And to even make it more easy for people to start working on these innovations, they have these fellowships programs. So that takes the risk away for these starting entrepreneurs. They get like a small salary, and they can delve into that topic, into that research, get familiar with the hospital, and see, okay, how can I bring this to a commercial state? Which I think is very inspiring to see how they are doing it. And we're also engaged and see how ID Group can be a partner to stimulate those innovations. But I think transparency about the research topics, what I said, and the available IP, or the IP you want to spin out, that really helps in combination with the call for entrepreneurs.
And maybe last question from your experience. A long time ago, we noticed that the hospitals are not only the recipients of innovations, but also they generate ideas.
Exactly.
And this is a case you deal with as well.
Yes. A good example, right? You visited us in Rotterdam. We are part of the Erasmus MC Incubator, so they have some IP there, right? And they want to spin it out. And actually, we are co-founders of Spatium Medical. It's an insufflator startup, and there was this technology there within the Erasmus MC. It's coming from research. And we really drag it out. We saw the potential there and thought, okay, this is a great case to create a business around and help even more people and more surgeons in these ORs and get this, innovative insufflator. So there's tons of value in hospitals. But what I said in the beginning, it lacks champions to see the value and bring it forward and wanting to bring it outside of the hospital. Well, of course, first implement it and impact the hospital itself, but then bring it further. So that's why we're part of that incubator. But if you also look at the Erasmus MC, they have the Create for Care program, right? So it's a very open, like there's no intentions for licensing, for instance. It's just bringing ideas to reality. So if a nurse has an idea, they can come to this Create for Care department and they develop it. And they can directly, because it's developed in the hospital, they can directly implement it in the hospital. So for instance, like an ampule breaker, for instance, it's very low fidelity. It's not complex at all, but for the people working around the bed, for instance, it makes a huge difference in their day-to-day work. And that's what we see as open innovation. And now this department is trying to bring that innovation also to other hospitals, right? And making it open source, for instance, so that they can download the 3D printed files or the files to be 3D printed, and nurses can start using it in other hospitals. So what you said, there's tons of value in hospitals, and that's why you see more hospitals having incubator programs now as well.
I would have more questions, but actually time is going on. So
yeah, I will keep it short. And then the last thing I wanted to note on this topic is hospitals are also creating now like living labs or sandbox environments. If you look at the UMC Utrecht, so in the center of the Netherlands, they have this living lab where also external innovators can bring their technology there and test it in a real time and the right environment where it's being used by nurses. So for instance, there was this startup with a new alarm system, and this alarm system was based on research from a hospital actually. So innovation IP from hospitals spun out into a startup, coming back to another hospital to test it. And they implemented this alarm system alongside the actual already embedded alarm system. But then certain caregivers, they were giving assignment, okay, if you have time available, just respond to this alarm system, so they can really track how it's being used in a real life situation. So that's also how you can foster and stimulate innovations in the actual setting. And it kind of brings me to the last topic, right? So how do we keep patients engaged and empowered? well, of course, patients are the ultimate customers who need to benefit from the technology that's being developed, right? And engaging with them early on helps to understand their needs and priorities even better. So what we do at ID Group is we first of all have to focus on designing the right thing, and then designing it right? So first, what is the desirability? Is it really needed? Including the reimbursement and the regulatory pathways, of course, and then designing the solution in the right way. So is it feasible? Is the business case viable? But it always has to start with the desirability. So we don't want to do any technology push, right? There needs to be a need and a demand for it. And what is important there is to include the patients. So for instance, we have like patient boards, like we also have with our own ventures key opinion leader on the board, right? We have a patient there to be the voice. So what I said, it's very important to bring them along in that journey. And also like patients with very different opinions, that's even better, right? So somebody who is really disliking or suspicious of this and doesn't see it happening, and somebody who's very enthusiastic about it, that really brings the best voices, and maybe it's a compromise, but it works for most patients in the end. And then you can develop and start bringing it further.
Enthusiasm of patients brings yet another level of complexity to the system.
Yeah.
Enthusiasm and disenthusiasm as well, but of course.
Yeah, it does bring another layer. And it's important because often like doctors or surgeons and nurses are being taken in account in development, right? And what I think it's more important to think about the experience and the benefits for the patients in the end, right? That's why we're here. So whilst the best practices already are focusing on patients, in many cases, doctors are the ultimate risk takers, right? They may choose options that are more familiar to them rather than what's best for the patient. We see challenges in adaptations and changing behavior, which is very difficult, but you can design for that. So the empowerment comes from realizing one's responsibility for health and aiding in making better health choices, since prevention is always better than therapy in the end. So that's what we really see, and that's why it's important to include these patients in bringing ideas forward. But yeah, I think that's what I want to share from ID Group's perspective. I realized I took quite some time, so but yeah, it's I really appreciate this opportunity, and if anybody there online or in person wants to meet up later, yeah, what I said, ID Group Europe is really for the whole of Europe. So we work from Helsinki to Barcelona, and from Dublin to Milan. So all across. So please reach out if you have any questions and want to explore and see how we as an ID Group can support, partner, even participate in bringing ideas forward, or be a partner for your ecosystem. So very happy to explore. Yeah, thank you for the time.
I must admit, we discussed yesterday, not today's session, but opportunities for collaboration, because it seems very interesting to have such a asset in the group. So thank you again. This is not our last time we meet. We get together. Thank you for this. I know that you will be leaving the meeting sometimes in the near future. We will now switch internally to our guests in the studio.
Thank you.
Studio, and now we'll have Andrzej Skalski again. I mean, because Andrzej presented the medal company before, and now we'll hear about the other perspective of experiences of medal in collaborating with hospitals.
Yes, thank you very much for the invitation. I will try to show our perspective. It means small SME in relation to hospitals, and what do we think that is most important when we want to bring the innovation into hospital. So at the beginning, MedUp is a medtech company located in Kraków. We have more than 10 years experience in software as a medical device. From 8 years, more than 8 years, we focus on a solution based on a mixed reality. One of these solutions is Kernel Life Holo. I present some of the examples of usage of this system. We are on a secondary market on New Connect on the Warsaw Stock Exchange. Kernel Life Holo, our flagship product, is already on the market. We have the certification for the Europe, USA, and Brazil. We have the validated business model in Poland and Europe. We receive many awards. I think one of the most important for us was we won in a Mother and Child's Startup Challenge. This opened us the possibility to implement and introduce our system to pediatric hospitals around Poland. We collaborate with big names like Microsoft, NVIDIA. We also took part in for Startups Europe. So
it was to add actually from the history of MedUp that a few years ago, like maybe more than 7, I believe, the president of Microsoft mentioned directly during the official speech about collaboration with Meta.
Yes, it's true. Satya told everyone on a room that MedUp changed the cardiology in the future. So we try to do it, and I think we have very.
Did you record this?
Yes, you can find you can find this in the internet. We also collaborate with the insurance companies, so it's also, I think, the interesting part. But today, I would like to present our experience in implementing innovation into hospitals. From our perspective, we have 5 main pillars to try to do. But at the beginning, here you can see our Kernel Life Holo. It's a mixed reality system for holographic visualization based on different medical data, mainly 3-dimensional. The hologram can be the size of the patient. We can go into the data to see the pathologies, to see the anatomical structures, and what is important from the intraoperative point of view, everything is in a sterile environment. Because we don't really touch any physical object, we can interact using gesture and voice commands. Next slide, please. So our product can be used in 2 phases. One is planning of any treatment where the doctors use medical imaging, especially in 3D, like computed tomography, magnetic resonance, echocardiography. And this plan can be moved to the intraoperative environment, because we can transfer all of this visualization, all of the holograms. We can add more because we can add the direct view from the imaging devices in operating room, and we can transfer this to the operation. So the doctor receives the better outcomes, higher confidence, and for the patient we have less complications or less radiation during the operation.
How did you manage to enter into the hospital with this?
Yeah, and this is a very good question because, to be honest, it's very difficult to show the advantages of this kind of the system. So the main aim,
Demonstrate.
yeah, the main aim is to take the system and show to the doctors. From our perspective, is to put the glasses on the doctor's head, and then everything is easier. But this is only a demonstration because I think from our experience, the first pillar is certification. Can we go down? Because the doctors would like to have, they want to have a product, not only idea. From also legal point of view, if the doctor wants to use a product or device without the certification, she or he should fill many documents, many papers, because they should collect approval from the bioethical committee. So it's very difficult. If we have the certification, then we cross the first barrier that we can use our system in a hospital without additional bureaucracy. In our case, we have a C certificate, also the clearance and registration in Brazil, but this is only a baseline. The second thing is data security. We will be talking about it today. From our perspective, the best data security, of course, if it is possible, is on-premise solution. If we don't have connection to the internet, then the probability that something happen with the patient data is very, very low. But of course, if we use cloud solutions, we should be sure that the data is protected, that we don't, not only, because one thing is the anonymization of the data, but still we have the patient data, and in 2010, I think, around 2010, it was a great discussion about that the anonymization is not enough, because the doctors told me that, come on, if I see this very specific kidney in image data, I exactly know what is the name of the patient. So we have different levels of the how to manage the data in the products, because one is anonymization, for example, when we transfer the data outside the hospital, but also the security of any information, especially that we know that medical data is very crucial and can change many things. For example, if insurance companies have too much information about our health, it can influence the level of the payment for insurance.
The European Commission just recently...
That's forbidden, actually.
Yes, from the formal point of view, yes.
So they can't do that. It's illegal.
But the European Commission just recently introduced these new regulations, finally, officially, the European Health Data Space. Does it change something, anything in your...
I think it's
easier?
Yeah, it changed many things in different on different levels. I think we still try to see what consequences it generated, because we have data on a different level, because one is a solution when we transfer something, we have the system or so on, but we also try to use data to create the solutions. Okay, we have many AI companies, many AI projects at universities, and we need the data. And it's very difficult to have enough data to create or validate the solution. From my perspective, in the USA, the way to collect the data, for example, for the company or also for the research, is easier in comparison with Europe. For example, National Cancer Institute in USA, they published a database from lung screening trial, more than 125,000 of cities. So, it's usually at the university, we collaborate with the hospital. You can collect, 50, 100, maybe 200. From deep learning perspective, for example, it's a little. What is interesting in USA, they organize something what is called National Cancer Image Archive. It's a website where you can download different data sets in different modalities, like CT, MRIs with annotations, and a huge part of this collection you can use also for the commercial purpose, not only for research, but you can also use this data to build your solution. In Europe is, I think, much more complicated to have this kind of data, and I think it's a problem both for the business and also academia. We have a lot of data in hospitals, but from the formal point of view, it's not possible, for example, without a new permission of the patient to use retrospective data. Okay, if we collect the new one, then if we have the permission from the patient, it's okay. But still, we have plenty of CTs, MRIs in the hospitals, which we should use to create a new solution. Even if of course, I'm talking about data where the patient agreed to use for a research, but from the formal point of view, that approval should be connected to the very specific project, not like general purpose.
How about a very specific project about longitudinal research? Do you know such a solutions and application or solutions?
Yeah.
I know this is difficult to answer because that's a different story. We didn't reach this point. I think in a regional setting, to have such access to such a data.
Yeah, especially that I think we have some initiatives like data donation. We are talking in a community to create the solution to give our data, of course, with after
like organs.
Yeah, like organs, exactly. So we have programs, for example, for rare disease where we have screening programs, for example, to collect some samples and use this to find the matches between the patient and donor. And the same, I think we should we should educate and we should discuss with the people that
It's much easier to find the data in Africa or somewhere.
Even in the USA, for me it was, as I thought before, for me it was amazing. More than 100,000 of cities. So
I had yesterday, I had a talk with the representatives of the Ministry of Health in Abu Dhabi at Emirates, and they said, we have the data, we can share it, but we need to move the business to Emirates. But we have the data, we can share it.
This is market.
They use it as
It's a leverage.
the medical data, because they don't have all these regulations.
yeah, and they also have the money to invest for new initiatives.
Also, why there are so many medical startups well-performing in Israel? Because they also have access to it.
Yeah, in Israel, they have a very special ecosystem where they bring the VC, the hospital, and the academia together. So every hub has those three components.
Yeah, but they sold out this special permission for using.
But that's the hospital. So the hospital takes care of that. So you can use your.
Basically, as far as I know, in Israel, the hospital owns the data.
But there you have the language barrier. So you have to have a local partner. So to access it, you use the local data.
I think they cannot. They also cannot share it with so easily with external partners.
No, but you can move there. And you can have a local partner. It's the same approach. It's the same approach. It's the same approach as you mentioned. So they have this ecosystem. They create the need, and then if you want to use them, they have to somehow collaborate.
And this is not only on a country, but also on a regional level. In USA, for example, you can find the initiatives where you have ventures, you have 20 or more hospitals, and they have the programs to create a new entity in this very specific region. So this is not only a country, but sometimes it's a region. Okay, so the data, and from our perspective, the third pillar is, I think, one of the crucial is give to the opportunity to try. So we should give our product, our idea to the doctor. Of course, it should be as simple as possible, because if we have our solution, and okay, maybe it's a very fancy from the equation point of view, from science point of view, but if our solution increase, for example, the time required for the doctor to use this in a very specific treatment, they won't be used this solution. What is more, the doctors have very limited time, so it's very difficult to convince them that they should spend a lot of time in extensive training to acquire the new knowledge about a new tool. So we should simplify our solution as we can. But this is only a somehow technical point of view, because can we go? Yeah, next one. Because the doctors would like to have a new possibilities to solve problems which they have in a different in a different areas of their daily routine. Because finally, the final pillar is to discover new areas and address unmet clinical needs. If we show that please next. If we show them that the hospital can, for example, reduce some of the money because we can reduce the treatment time, or we can reduce staying of time of the staying patient in the hospital. But it can be difficult, for example, from the payer point of view, because sometimes we know what we had when one of the institutions pay when the patient spent in the hospital more than 3 days. So from the hospital point of view, in this system, it's better when the patient
keep patient.
Yeah, to keep patient, not to reduce this time. But my private opinion is that the most important part is not the money, but is outcome for the patient. If the doctors can see that using our solution, they can reduce the possible complication or risk of this complication, then she or he want to use this solution because it's also more safety for them. Because if the patient hasn't complication, means that it means that the lawyers, the system doesn't want they don't inspect problems in this area. So these 5 pillars, from my perspective, are the most important to change the idea to product which can be implemented to the hospital, because finally we would like to sell our products to pay our employees, but we should.
Finally, this is a business.
Yeah, this is a business, and we should pay. At the end, I would like to show short videos about some of the examples. Here, for example, you can see the direct streaming from the eco machine. You can see the occluder. Of course, you can see this as a 2D image, but the doctors using goggles sees this as a 3D object. Next, please. Okay, here, for example, we can see a computed tomography. We can see the tumor around the ribs. So during the operation, doctor using head movement can go into the data to identify margins of the tumor, critical structures. What is more? Next, please. We can also superimpose the hologram in an automatic way in a different manner. Here, for example, during the cardiosurgery, the hologram was superimposed on a patient in order to select the access point for the instrument, and also doctors use virtual ruler to measure distances in a holographic space. So, for example, during the treatment, they can check the distance between the pathology or other anatomical structures.
Thank you. This was very impressive. And your experience in collaborating in hospitals it's also very useful, I think, for others. We didn't hear from you any bad stories about this, any bad experiences. I know there are such, because it's normal in such a process that you met a lot of obstacles and you have to fight sometimes with something. I heard one story from your company that the doctors wanted to plan. They planned the very invasive surgery procedure based on data, and which when your system was supporting different approach, and there was kind of query between the doctors, and finally you agreed. I have to speak louder. Okay, you agreed that you will repeat the company will repeat the test, and the test repeated the same conclusion that there is no need for so invasive surgery, and that was true. They after that they admitted that the tool is very useful.
Yeah, we have many this kind of the stories where the
can we change that?
Where the doctors change the plan for the treatment based on the information. For example, in case of cancers, doctors didn't believe that they have accurate location and the size of the tumor, and they use the pen to mark the border of the tumor based on the hologram, and then they compare with the clinical situation. And they told us, okay, now I have the proof, okay, that the size, because one of the important things is the size of the tumor, that the system can provide me this kind of information.
This is Thomas' case. Yeah? I will not believe until I touch it.
Yeah.
Okay,
but that's a very good approach from my perspective.
Of course, you have to prove on let's say they have to base on proven technology, not believed technology. Okay, so thank you very much for this, and now we will have a presentation by Tomasz. Tomasz, as far as I know, will refer to the report.
Well, I'll touch
Somehow.
on, but that's Polish only,
Okay.
so I will. This is going to be Can I start?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for having me and for this opportunity to be here. And for the next couple of minutes, I would like to share with you my experiences of dealing with medical data for computational science, for computational medicine in Europe for like last 16 years. I've been doing that in various countries. And I'll be talking about the potential that is there, about threats, barriers, and hopefully a few minutes about potential solutions to the problem. The potential, now I'm going to talk about so-called secondary use for medical data, and probably most of us know the potential is enormous. And it goes well beyond the current AI hype, well beyond also back in years. But starting with that, obviously we have new modalities, new imaging, higher resolutions. We can have computer vision applied to get better computer-aided diagnosis or search for visual biomarkers. Next slide, please. And that can inform, the diagnosis. But we can also have that that imaging and through segmentation we can have 3D reconstruction of human organs or tissue, and then as we saw today, we can have a nice surgery assistance through, for instance, mixed reality headset or other kind of visualization of data, pre-procedure, during procedure, post-procedure. But we can also have the same kind of data for in silico modeling, mathematical modeling of disease of organs in supercomputers. We can use that, so-called in silico modeling and simulations to also for something like in silico clinical trials. That is using supercomputing simulation to test safety and efficacy of during the regulatory process of new say candidates for implants, catheters, medical devices, or maybe even drugs. Next slide, please. But and then we can use that data for simulators. We can train robots, like medical robots, on that data to be more precise, to be more accurate. But since we basically can now generate, artificially generate tissue that is basically almost indistinguishable from real human tissue for medical practitioners. So we can also start use that to train actual doctors, I mean students. That's another viable route for that. Next slide, please. And obviously, we can dig through that enormous amount of data, analyze it in order to generate new verified knowledge. And with that knowledge, we can build digital therapeutics applications that help people for instance, to recover after a surgery or an accident. We can also build so-called lifestyle apps that influence our behavioral patterns, so we can live healthier lives. And this is, of course, a beneficial impact for citizens, but also that through prevention that generates a lot of savings in the healthcare systems. And also the policymakers can use that data or the knowledge generated from the data for fact-based policy making in the healthcare systems. And we can use that data for international collaboration. As we heard today, it's also a leverage, if you like. And but next slide, please. But perhaps also for primary use, for better treatment. So we still hear doctors admitting that they very recently given suboptimal care to a specific patient only because they didn't have access to the full record of their medical history. And they admit that if they had this, the treatment would be better. So we shouldn't forget about the primary use for that. And next slide, please. So what would be, in my opinion, could be the threats of us in Europe, I'm talking about the Europe perspective, not reusing our medical data at great scale. So I already mentioned the primary use, the care would stay suboptimal. But also from secondary use, we will stay behind economy-wise, right? So fewer companies, fewer products, European products, the smaller portion of the market covered by our economy, and but it goes deeper than that. So we will. This may result in continuing kind of digital illiteracy of medical practitioners, of course, in comparison to their American, Asian counterparts, and through that we risk that in the future they will be less efficient in using future medtech technologies, for instance, the AI-based ones. And but further than that, we risk. I think we clearly risk underrepresentation, which is that. If the currently built new solutions based on data do not use enough of European, say, ethnic or genetic mosaic background, then they are going to be less accurate for Europeans in the future. And of course, the sin of exceptionalism. We can say, okay, but Europe is such a big market, that we just tell them that they actually have to, the vendors have to include enough representation of European data, no matter the regulation, no matter the barriers, and they will definitely go that extra mile, 2 miles, 3 miles in order to be able to sell that product to Europe. Maybe they will. But also look what happened with, Google Street View in Germany in the last 10 years. So maybe there's a lesson for us there, because maybe they won't at some point. There is a nice report by NICE UK 1 year ago about computer-aided diagnosis in lung CT. You can check for the companies and solutions that were already on the UK market, like rolled out back then for nodules in lung through computational tomography. And there were not many European companies. And even if there was a Dutch one, for instance, but if you check what data they used to train their AI-based solution, it was exactly the American set. And they even validated that against the American set. So Dutch European company still using American data for that. So next slide, please. Barriers. I don't like that particular word because I think it kind of invites a forceful solution, because you break barriers, right? So in no way here I'm advocating for anything like that, any kind of forceful solution, because if there are barriers, there are usually people behind those barriers, right? The barriers are there because of something or someone. So, but we should rather understand what they are there through our empathy and reason, and thanks to that understanding, we should solve the hindrance, somehow remove the hindrances, and there is one nice European value of compromise that we should use. Please, next slide. So, what are these? One thing that I would like to mention, because in my opinion it doesn't get enough recognition in public discussion, is the can you go one slide more, because thank you. It was the but I think it pops up when you talk to doctors and medical centers, is the hidden fear of that if you have that secondary data and your expert, for research purpose, goes through that data, it's additional scrutiny that can uncover basically procedural or medical errors. And depending on the country you are treating your patients in, that has various legal, financial, or obviously reputational consequences. And I think, in my opinion, the fear is there. They really are very careful about that. Right? We all know that errors are there, right? Certain level of them. And we all know that some of them are hidden, right? And because we put a lot of stress on the anonymity of the medical data from the patient perspective, but not so much from the doctor perspective. And even the European health data space regulation that Kazimierz mentioned today explicitly kind of says that there could be identification data related to health professionals in the data sets for secondary use. So we have to recognize that it's there. Next slide, please. Well, thank you. The legal problems we have that we actually encountered is the problem beyond the understanding and implementation of the anonymization and pseudonymization in the medical data in Europe. So we had a case that our DPO considered the data that a clinical center from Europe wanted to give us for some research to uncover new interesting facts for them. he considered it pseudonymized and wanted that hospital to sign the data transfer agreement, the GDPR one, with us. And the hospital said, it's anonymized. It's not GDPR data. And basically you have no arbitrary way to say that they were wrong or we were wrong. Because for instance, but if you look at what Safe Harbor did for HIPAA in the US a few years ago, then you can see a clear implementation guidance, very specific one, what to do in order to be compliant. So it's a solution. We can try to learn from that. And also we have some Polish local problems with our acts not updated, even to GDPR, I think, not mentioning the new data space. Next slide, please. And yes, GDPR. So I think there is also probably, we also probably need a change of narrative around that. So there is a lot of fear or instigating fear about what we just heard about insurance companies or people who would like to steal our medical data. In my opinion, that might be controversial for you, but in my opinion, it's not so obvious that there is high monetary value to stolen medical data. And so I'm not sure if we should be as afraid of that. Obviously, if we are going to share our medical pseudonymized or anonymized medical data at scale, obviously at some point leaks will be there. We will need to be more resilient. We will need to learn on them how to protect us better. But I think we should speak a little bit more in the cyberspace about the benefits and the threats, maybe, if we don't do that, right? So next slide, please. We can skip that. Yeah, we talked about some that the AI hype is not helping, I think, in my opinion, because too many people are afraid of AI. So they say, I am not going to share medical data because of the AI. Solutions, yes. Kazimierz mentioned our report, but this is only in Polish, that we did with National Chamber of Physicians in Poland a couple of months ago, that goes to some lengths about explaining the current situation in Poland and in Europe regarding medical data. But broader than that, I invite you to check the European Health Data Space regulation that was there for the last 2 years, but very recently it was adopted, I think, by the European Parliament. So the European Commission will probably publish it around autumn. So it's kind of official, finally. I am cautiously optimistic. I think this goes a little bit contrary to some recent trends in Europe. I consider that a legal text brave and adequate. Of course, as we say in Polish, the devil's in the detail. We'll see about the implementation of that in various countries. But I really invite you to check that out. It's something that brings some optimism to that process, I think. Can we go one slide further? So yes. To conclude, I've been there doing computational medicine. I'm an engineer for last 15 years, 16 years, and I'm pretty convinced that right now, as I speak to you, people are needlessly dying who would otherwise be saved by technology if we did that earlier. I'm absolutely convinced about that. So we in Europe value privacy, but we probably value human life a little bit higher. So I'm not advocating dropping privacy protection. I'm just advocating being reasonable about that because, and for instance, as the European Health Data Space advocates, rather let certain individuals in specific cases opt out of the process then wait for people to opt in. And so we can have kind of solidarity model, if you like. So not me, but many of you are young and feel very healthy and don't see maybe the problem there for them. But believe me that your data, if you share it, will benefit many other people in Europe, and maybe not this week, but next year, in 2 years' time, lives will be saved thanks to that. So this is my final message, and thank you for hearing me out. Can I have the last slide? So my name is Tomek Gubała. I am a co-founder of SANO Center for Computational Medicine. In Kraków, we are a non-for-profit organization, an NGO that is devoted to research in computational medicine. Not just AI, also AI, but all those different techniques that I showed you. And thank you.
That was very, very comprehensive. Actually, a lot of information, but a very nice overview of these programs. Question which comes to me very directly: in which way we can use it, this type of presenting this perceiving this situation into the roadmap? I mean, what should we do? Our friend who is participating in other workshops say, if you don't like the law, change the law. But we are, I also dare to say that we are not so stupid, people are not so stupid to implement the law which is against them on purpose. We don't like something because we don't like some effects, but not the mainstream of the main purpose of the law. Like driving on the right side of the street. Some people prefer to drive on the left side, but still there is a law, and we obey this. And so, in which way we can actually implement those as you mentioned this, react to those not barriers, but hindrances. Yeah.
So I think the mental change is there. Is happening there. What is needed now, before we hopefully roll out the European health data space at scale in Europe, is advocacy, in my opinion. That's what we are trying to do with the National Chambers of Physicians in Poland. And also, talking about that, creating solid reports, obviously not hiding from the problems related to sharing data at scale, right? So why we are reluctant to share medical data? In my opinion, the problem, as I said, is not monetary, that there is a huge value in stealing the data. It's psychological, right? It's very intimate. We don't want our state of our health be, I don't know, topic of public discussion, right? So it's psychological, and we have to recognize that. If we are too forceful about that, this is not going to happen. But I think a lot will depend on how member states and Europe at large adopts the new regulation. And in order for this to be efficient, I think we need to talk about it. We can't just sit and wait for one of the ministries to at the Polish Parliament to give us a proper implementation of that. We need to educate them. We need to educate ourselves about the threats that we may have not recognized. But I think the change is finally there.
Okay, thank you. I'm giving the message that we cannot prolong this meeting. We have a José still here from the same organization like SANO, and I invited José because his personal experience in working with hospitals. And maybe I can ask you to quickly comment on what you have heard, and very quickly again present your position or tips or summary of what you have heard.
Okay, so I fully agree that with Tomek that we have this huge elephant in the room, the medical data. And it comes from two sides. One side is we are not addressing the problems of the hospitals. So we are always focused, okay, we want data to test our models, and those models are not coming together. So everyone talks about deep learning, but we don't have deep learning in healthcare. So we have noisy data, very complicated data to extract, lots of different problems. So our experience with the hospitals is when we approach them, always with the question, what is the problem that you have? And being that problem, business process related, data related, we try to address and understand our research merges the problem that they have. And the experience that we have with them are quite diverse. So we are working with one of the biggest hospitals here in Poland dedicated to allergies. And the focus for them is we'd like to improve the quality of the healthcare, what you provide. So that's children between 0 and 18. And they would like to reduce the cost, they would like to improve the quality of income. And when you look into the data, you start with a very fundamental problem. There is a lot of uncertainty on the medical decision making. So everyone takes data for granted, but it's not. Our models, the models that we are developing at Sano, allows us, for example, to compare different diagnoses to the same allergy.
To the same data.
To the same data. Not to the same data, because we are in the, so this will take us to discuss for 2 days, but data is what we call in theory explicit knowledge. It's knowledge that you can extract, that you can measure, that you can quantify, and so on. Humans, in the decision making, they use additional thing that is called tacit knowledge. It's knowledge that comes from expertise. So Thomas' expertise is on looking at data problems and those sort of things. So our machines, they don't live on that world. They live on the explicit world. So we have to have the capability to combine those two knowledge, and it needs to be part of the same process. Until we do it, and that's what we are doing. So in our case, we are providing the doctors with the visual of their decision-making process. And that's what makes them to engage. So, and then we have a fundamental approach that we don't, as was mentioned here by Mela, the problem of the security, moving the data from the hospital. So our models don't need to move that data. So our data always stays in the hospital, so we don't move it. And then the engagement of the patients comes along, because when they go to that hospital, as was also mentioned here by Mela, they don't say, oh, our model and our classification process comes from the data from the United States. No, it comes from the data on that hospital for that population that has those typical problems. So they engage because they relate with the data they see. So, and also, again, I don't see how data can be a healthcare problem or when every one of us here goes to Google and puts our data there. Even the symptoms. So there was a huge study a couple of years ago during one of the first flu problems, where Google was able to predict flu very efficiently, because everyone that was to Google was asking, okay, I have these symptoms, do I have flu? And they predicted. 5 years later, they were completely wrong, because the data was completely noisy, full of people who were asking questions that they didn't have data. So they were creating a world that was not connected. And I think that's the biggest problem nowadays, is everyone is so focused on this AI, machine learning, deep learning, not fundamentally deep learning, and forgetting that still is a huge amount of innovation that research centers like Sano are doing to fulfill the gap that is, how can I use the data for medical care? For example, the hospitals, they don't know how the processes are happening. Simple thing. So they design the pipeline that you come to the office, to the hospital, do that, and then you get outcome. And when you go to the hospital and say, oh, this is not happening, we have power people there taking the rules that the doctor, they don't know what happened. So you need to understand the full ecosystem of the hospital. And it's what my team at Sun is doing. Every time we go to a hospital, we try to first understand, okay, what are the problems with it, and engage with everyone.
Okay, so solution is not necessarily in collecting data from many places, but collecting data more smart way in the hospital.
Of course.
And using this.
It's using that because so if you to give you an example, so if you go here in Kraków to a hospital that has expertise on cardiology, you'd like to be treated at the best hospital possible. You have to have that information, and you'd like to have the follow-up if the hospital provides. Okay, you have here this app. You can go home with this app, and you can follow how your future looks like. But it's using the data that your doctor is providing. It's seeing so you can capture, for example, the food, because you know that the very specific places eat different food because they have access to different types of food. So that's a basic environment. I can give you an example that we work in Portugal. We had data from 2 hospitals in Portugal dedicated to gastric cancer, for example. And they were following the same guidelines, and the outcome was not quite the same. So, and then we found out that one was expert on gastric cancer, and the other was a general hospital. So how can you use a model for training deep learning for a general hospital and then translate it to? Not possible. It's not going to work. You don't collect the same data. So my team is focused on using small data sets that are completely noisy. No one would take care of them. But we demonstrated, and we published a couple of papers that would demonstrate that we can use that data to take informed decision making. So I think that's where Tomek was saying is that this data elephant that is in the room doesn't need to be seen from the big data perspective, and it's not possible. It needs to be, okay, I have this data, okay, it needs to be secure, cannot be used for different things. But going back, for example, to insurance problem, in the UK there is an insurance company that if you put a Fitbit on and your insurance can go down if you prove them that you walk, how many you eat well, and so on. So there is also an incentive from the other perspective of helping people to donate data and become health. So I think that we need to take it from the problem-solving perspective, not only from, okay, of course that we'd like to have very nice papers with very nice data, but that's not the reality where my team at Sanu is living.
Okay, because of time, I will not follow this.
Don't do a follow-up.
Yeah, okay, but we'll still have yet another meeting on this, so we'll invite you and we may explore this because this is very interesting voice in this approach. I just wanted, I was prepared to provide some summary, but because of time, the summary is on the screen and you have to read it by yourself. The message is, this is a complex issue. This is a really complex issue, and we have to perceive a lot of perspectives in order to harness this and come out with some smart solution. I like the notion that the hospital of the future is the hospital which is smart with its data. That maybe we'll conclude this way. Thank you very much for being part of this meeting. Sorry. Okay, lunch is ready, but this is for those who are collected here. So thank you for those who are in TV screens, in front of TV screens. We invite you to the next session. It will be 6th actually session on the innovative hospital, which will happen somewhere in the autumn. We don't have a date yet. No, that will be in October. That's pretty close in October. And we'll explore this subject even further. Maybe we'll follow the path Jose has introduced. The other perspective we want to include is we probably including is a perspective of patients. We hear businesses, we hear doctors, we hear scientists. We didn't hear yet the patients in this hospital of the future discussion. Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. This is all for today, at least for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.